Now, we've railed against the progressive elected officials in Congress during this coronavirus pandemic because they're not doing anything except giving theatrical speeches. And those speeches are only calling out the Republicans when the person who runs the House is Nancy Pelosi. So the Democrats took over the House, and I've been urging the squad and Ro Khanna and Tulsi Gabbard, whoever, to please call out Nancy Pelosi because she's the one who's standing in the way of real relief to people. She's the one who's standing. What the House should be doing right now is pass Medicare for all in the middle of a pandemic and let the Republicans squash it. That's a winner. That's a winner in November. If the Democrats would do that, they're not doing it. So they have bad leadership. Well, they don't have bad leadership. Nancy Pelosi's doing exactly what she's paid to do, which is to screw you in favor of Wall Street, Big Pharma, and the military-industrial complex and fossil fuel companies. So I've been urging all those representatives to call out Nancy Pelosi, and they won't do it, which is how you know they're phony. When AOC gets on the bill and she on the floor and she waves her hands and calls out the Republicans, and Ruth Chris, she's not calling out Nancy Pelosi, who engineered that bill to not have anything in it to help people. That's who they have to be calling out. Well, guess what? Ilhan Omar came close. Watch this. She said, we've lost 25 million jobs in 2 months, 3 times the entire Great Recession, which is the last one that happened when Barack Obama was president. House leadership needs to deliver for the people, all caps, people. Because they've been delivering for the corporations and the oligarchs, but not for the people. And who hasn't been delivering for the people? But the House leadership. Who is that? Who is that? If only there was a way. And then she says, we need to be bold in meeting the needs of the American people. Universal monthly payments, fully fund health care for all, and cancel rent mortgages. Wow, it's weird that your leadership, 4 months into a fucking crisis, hasn't done any of that. Isn't it amazing? But you voted for 4 stimulus packages, and none of that was included in any of them. And your House leadership, Nancy Pelosi, is the person engineering this. We've lost 25 million jobs in 2 months, despite the biggest wealth transfer in the history of the human race. And we still lost 25 million jobs in 2 months, even though we had the biggest $5 trillion upward transfer of wealth in the history of the human race, and still we lost jobs. Isn't that interesting? Hey, here's a list of things we could deliver, but instead we're just going to hand the banks a blank check. There's a list of the things they could deliver, but they decided not to. By the way, why doesn't this say Medicare for all? I'm going to tell you why in a second. Isn't that interesting? It says fully fund health care for all. Isn't that interesting? It doesn't say implement Medicare for all. Isn't that interesting? So there's lots of interesting things. She just signed onto the letter, an AIPAC letter, sanctioning Iran. I guess maybe that bought her the ability to say House leadership. So she can't say Nancy Pelosi, but Nancy Pelosi said, if you sign on to this stupid thing that puts sanctions on Iran and goes along with Trump in the middle of a pandemic, we limit medicine to people. If you do that, I'll let you call out the House leadership, not me by name, but I'll let you say House leadership in a tweet. Is that why? So here's what I tweeted out. I go, the first Democrat to call out the House leadership for not doing anything for people while transferring $5 trillion upward. I hope soon we'll even find out the names and Twitter handles of these so-called House leadership that hasn't yet delivered anything for the people. Hashtag baby steps. So that's a big baby step, I think. That she actually said House leadership, that she actually this is what we've been calling for them to do. Call out the House leadership. What was the point of you taking over the House? The House should be passing a UBI. The House should be passing Medicare for all and sending it to the Senate and make Mitch McConnell the devil that he is. But it turns out Nancy Pelosi is also the devil. The person that you work with and for is also the devil. The person you voted for as leader, Ilhan, is also the devil like Mitch McConnell. And that's the problem. And that's the problem being a Democrat. This is the problem. You have to defend garbage. You have to vote for screwing people. She's done all this. Do you think she'll ever say Nancy Pelosi's name instead of just saying House leadership needs to deliver? How about House leadership has failed to deliver this? In fact, I'm starting to believe they're not going to deliver this on purpose. Why? Because Nancy Pelosi is a criminal, rapacious oligarch. That's why. Fully fund health care for all. Slippery. Slippery. After voting with AIPAC, after signing a letter for AIPAC, she does this. Hey, this is the part where I tell you where our live shows are, but there aren't any. And then I would tell you to go join our premium, but nobody has a fucking job. So why don't you just enjoy the video?